Hey guys, and welcome back to some more Assetto Corsa online racing. Today you join me for a spot of a GT3 at none other than Laguna Seca. As we come round the penultimate corner now in quali, got about 6.5 minutes left to go, so not too bad. We've only set 2 laps, just coming on to our 3rd lap now as we come around the final hairpin. In P8 at the moment, haven't had a proper lap yet, thanks to 16 people racing around such a small track. Probably not the best idea, as we cross the start-finish straight now, and go up into P6, not too bad. As we come into the first corner now, the Andretti hairpin, braking at the first board on the right there as we come around this long left-hander, but doesn't matter how well we do, as this idiot in front backs onto the circuit as I try to go past. Not sure what that GTR was thinking, but anyway, skipping ahead to my fastest lap of the session then, my 6th lap, coming towards the Andretti hairpin once again. And again, another car right in the middle of the track there, this time a Ferrari on the apex of turn 2, as we come out of turn 2. Not a bad exit through there, could have been a lot worse. As we come into turn 3 now, missing the apex by an absolute mile there. Bit unfortunate, but not too much time lost as we come towards turn 3. One of the most deceptively hard corners on the circuit there. If you hit that red sausage curve on the inside, you'll be flying into the low Earth orbit. As we come towards turn 4 now. Again, another deceptively hard corner, this uphill left-hander. Very easy to go wide and onto the sand on the outside there. As we come up the hill to probably the hardest corner on the circuit. Turn 6, I think. This left-hander, very hard to carry over speed through there, which I sort of did through there, losing a couple of thousandths of a second on the delta as we come into the corkscrew now, the legendary corner here at Laguna Seca. Maybe braking a bit too early into there, but nothing too bad as we come into these final couple of corners. This long left-hander, trying to maximise the car. Again, another car stationary in the middle of the track, and again, another GTR for that matter as we come around the penultimate corner now. And into the final hairpin before the start-finish straight, braking at the second board on the right there, going into neutral like an absolute idiot there. Not sure what I was thinking, that probably cost a couple of tenths, but oh well. Coming down the start-finish straight now and going up into P3, which would be the best I could do of the entire session. So pretty happy with that. P3 is definitely a decent result as we chase the black and white Nissan GTR in front. Coming towards turn 4 now, and again getting crashed out by another car coming into turn 4 as the Lamborghini Huracan spins back onto the racing line, putting us out that lap, and nothing I could really do about that. No way I could have avoided it without losing too much time. And this was a bit of a weird occurrence as well, coming down the pit lane on the 7th lap, looking behind, don't see anyone there, so I thought, oh, why not, let's just go past the cones, and getting absolutely launched by that cone there. Not sure what the cones at Laguna Seca are made of. I mean, maybe titanium or something by what that is, but anyway, coming around the penultimate corner now on my 7th lap, still in P3, not too bad at all. Coming towards the final hairpin before the start-finish straight, and just like that, the engine cuts out, which can only signify one thing: qualifying is over, and the race is about to begin. So here we are on the grid at Laguna Seca for this 8-lap race. Starting in P3, got a BMW Z4 in front, and a Porsche 911 to the right. Turning traction control off, I personally prefer that to start the race, as it's 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and off we go, getting a pretty good launch, better than the Porsche to the right, but kind of boxed in, nothing I can really do about it. Still going down towards the first corner now, turning traction control back on, getting damage to the right-hand door there, nothing too bad though, as we come into the first corner. Still cold brakes though, going wide into the first corner, letting the Porsche go through on the inside, nothing I could have really done about that. Tyres are still cold and the brakes are still cold. As we come into turn 3 now, nice and tidy through there as we chase the Porsche in front towards turn 4. Pretty surprised on how clean that opening couple of corners were. Normally there's a million spins on that first corner of the Andretti hairpin at Laguna Seca, but I guess we got lucky this time as we come towards the uphill left-hander of turn 5. Nice and easy through there. The car in front a bit out of line up there, trying to make a move on the car in front, but it's just not possible at this early stage of the race. As we come towards turn 6 now, the incredibly hard left-hand kink, getting it pretty alright through there. Could have been a lot worse, but anyways, we come up the hill, the Rahal straight towards the corkscrew. Very hard to judge your braking zone into here. Incredibly hard, especially on the first lap with these cold tyres and cold brakes. Still right there with the rest of the pack, and not too bad yet, as the car in front goes way offline with a Porsche in P2, as we come towards the penultimate corner now of this first lap. Still in P4, breaking away nicely from the cars behind, as the car in front goes wide onto the sand on the outside there, on the penultimate corner. Going a bit wide into that final hairpin there, but not the end of the world, as we go onto the sand on the outside there, losing a ton of time as we go past that stationary Nissan GTR on the starting grid. Now coming over the hill, turn 1, this short left-hand kink before turn 2, the Andretti hairpin. Coming into the Andretti hairpin then, losing quite a lot of time to the cars in front now. That gap is really opening up between us and the Porsche in front. As we come out there, they go wide once again over the sand on the outside there. Coming into turn 3, again, a bit wide through there, a bit off centre, but not too bad as the guy in front, again, going onto the sand on the outside. Now turn 3, again, another hard corner, but not too bad through there, going onto the curbs on the outside. As we come down towards turn 5 now, this uphill left-hander. Again, as I said before, a very tricky corner as proven there, going wide on entry there as we continue to open up the gap between us and the cars behind, but also open up the gap between us and the car in front. We really need to close that down, get as close as we can. As we come up the hill towards the corkscrew once again. Very difficult corner, probably one of the hardest on the circuit. As we come into there, very hard to judge your braking zone. I normally do it just as we come over the crest of the hill. As we now look to the cars in front, as the guy in front goes down the inside of the other Porsche into turn 9. There looks to be a bit of contact with the guy in P2 going onto the sand on the outside there. Us trying to go around the outside into the penultimate corner. Trying to leave them enough space, but maybe a bit too much space going onto the sand ourselves. As we now dive down the inside into the final corner, trying to make a move, but just cannot get that car stopped. With us staying in P4 after that missed opportunity, as we come down the start-finish straight onto the third lap of the race. Still in P4, and still quite a big gap to the car behind as we come into the first corner now, the Andretti hairpin, or should I say the second corner actually, because that kink coming into the Andretti hairpin counts as a corner in itself. As we now skip ahead to lap 4 of a halfway through the race, still a big gap to the car behind and unfortunately a big gap to the car in front as well, kind of in our own little bubble here. As we come up the uphill left-hander of turn 5, very tricky corner, just getting it nice and smooth through there, slightly running over the curbs on the outside. As we come into turn 6 now, trying to get the apex there. Good line through there, probably the best I've done so far. 7 tenths up, 8 tenths up, 9 tenths up on our fastest lap, a second up on our fastest lap. As we now come into the perilous corkscrew at Laguna Seca, and perilous it is with the guy in front spinning out on the entry of the corner, stranded on the sand on the outside there, putting us up into P3, onto the podium. Not sure what happened to the Porsche behind. I think they might have just gone a bit offline and span up those rear wheels into the entry, but regardless, up to P3 we go. Pretty surprised by that, to be honest. They seemed relatively stable all race long. Wasn't expecting them to make such a big mistake. As we now come onto the pit straight to start the 5th lap of the race. Still 10 people in the race. Only 6 people have retired so far, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. As we come into turn 4 now. Very good line through there, taking the apex and onto the curbs on the outside. As we come towards the long uphill left-hander of turn 5, once again for the 6th time. Very hard corner, as I keep saying, incredibly hard to keep the speed through there. As we come up the hill towards turn 6 once again, trying to get a good line through there. And that we do, hitting the apex, running over the curbs on the outside. Bit of a wobble there, but nothing major, could have been much worse than that. As we come into the corkscrew now, braking hard, braking late, and getting it pretty good through there. Cutting the apex there at the exit of the corkscrew, taking a bit of liberties with the track limits. I mean, I don't think track limit regulations were on for this race, which is a bit unsurprising. Laguna Seca isn't really a track where you can cut any corners, otherwise you'll just be on the sand, which is punishment enough in itself, as the guy in front suddenly disconnects, putting us up into P2. And as a fellow sim racer with pretty terrible internet, I can feel for that guy who suddenly disconnected, or maybe he crashed and rage quit or something, I'm not sure. But anyway, skipping ahead to the 8th and final lap of the race. Only 7 of the original 16 cars left running now, as we come towards turn 4, turning in a bit early and smashing over the red curb on the inside there, sliding onto the sand on the outside. That could have ended a whole lot worse. I don't know how I saved that. As we come into turn 5, this uphill left-hander, I don't know how I saved that. That was a bit of a scary moment, to say the least. As we come towards turn 6 now, up the hill, still in P2, still in a bit of a bubble. Long distance to the car in front, and not such a long distance to the car behind. If this race had been a couple laps longer, they probably would have caught us. Anyway, coming into the final corner now in P2, coming onto the pit straight. going down the main straight towards the checkered flag, as we finish the race in a pretty decent P2. Only 7 cars of the original 16 finishing, going off the runoff area at the first corner now, the Andretti hairpin, or the second corner. I keep saying it's the first corner, it's the second corner. But here we go, trying to do some donuts now, but of course, Assetto Corsa said no, and our engine cuts out for the end of the race. And there we go, that's that, P2, not too bad. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe, comment, share, and I'll be back in the next video. See ya!